classic, isn't it? Classic.
So good.
You Are Loved is a new community interest company dedicated to supporting gay, bi and queer men. You Are Loved, or YAL, was created in response to rising suicide and drug-related deaths among gay, bi and queer men. It creates a safe, supportive space where members of the LGBTQ community can connect and share openly. It launches this Friday, November the 22nd, and we're really pleased that its founder, Marc Svensson, joins us now. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great that you're here. I always think that the services, we know that services are stretched. We know that adult mental health services, actually, and children's mental health services, super difficult to get access. So groups like this, there is such a need for them. Tell us why and how your group started.
Yeah, I mean, how it started, the organization started back in September, but I'm a research psychologist, so I've been researching sexual and gender minority identity formation and mental health for the last 10 years. And this organization came about as a queer man myself, having lived in London for 20 years, came about because of the high number of people around me that I've seen dying either from suicide or drug-related deaths over the last 20 years, but more so in the last couple of years, I'd say.
And is that proportionately higher than other sections of society?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. We don't know for certain. We know for certain that queer people in general have higher levels of suicide ideation and suicide attempts, because we know that we can measure that, but we don't know for certain that we die prematurely from suicide or drugs, because we don't collect information about sexual orientation on death certificates.
So we need to see a change in that, presumably. That could...
I would love that. It's one of the things that we are working on, or I'd like to try to impact the policy of changing.
Yeah.
So we know, for example, with suicide statistics, we know that men are much more likely to die by suicide than women.
Yes.
75% of all suicides are by men.
Wow.
I feel like we know those stats in the last few years. We've suddenly all become more aware of certainly men under 45 and suicide. This particular community, what are the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, there are many challenges, and it's a big community, right? The queer community or the LGBTQ plus community. Mm-hmm. And there are different challenges for different people within the community. I think what's specific for gay, bi, queer men, so men who are sexually attracted to other men, there is a set of unique challenges that we have as a community, and it has to do with a unique combination of, we're living in a patriarchal society, right, where men are expected to behave in a certain way.
Yes.
As queer men or gay men, we already are breaking some of those gender expectations, and then we are also sexually attracted to each other. So we have this unique combination of competing with each other as a patriarchal society, and then sexually attracted to each other. And it creates a unique dynamic within our community. I think that's a unique issue that is there for queer men compared to other people within the community.
And with your studies, what have your studies, have there been surprises along the way? I always think, I love research, I've just done a research paper myself. I'm like, the surprises, that's the whole point of research, isn't it?
Yeah.
What things did you find that you were like, gosh, people should know this?
I think two things. So I'm doing my PhD at UCL here in London.
Amazing.
I'm on my final year, hopefully.
Yeah.
Where I'm researching...
What's your research paper in?
I'm researching plurisexual identifying emerging adults, so 18 to 29-year-olds identify as bisexual, pansexual or queer, so being sexually attracted to more than one gender. And what I found in my research there is that sexual attraction, so sexual orientation, is less of an issue, but gender identity is more of an issue, even also for cisgendered people, so people that are not trans or non-binary, because innately we are kind of breaking gender expectation, even though...
How we've also been socialised to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The name You Are Loved suggests that your research has led you to believe, and maybe your experience as well, and anecdotal evidence has led you to believe that part of the issue is a sense of isolation, that people feel alone in this. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. So the idea with the organization was to kind of address these high levels of premature death. But I think the underlying factors, which is the important thing, right, to understand, is there are many of them and it's complex. But I think three main factors is stigma, shame, and loneliness that are kind of connected. And I think at the root of all of it, obviously suicides and a drug-related death are not necessarily the same cause, but there's a big overlap, I believe. And at the core of it, I think for many, it is a sense of feeling that you are not loved. Not saying, and I think everyone is loved, but maybe a sense of feeling that I'm alone, no one really cares about me, or no one thinks that I deserve to be here. And
so this Friday, you finally got to the launch day. That must feel good. What will happen? Is this a meeting that people are having, a gathering?
Yes, so it's our first in-person event. So the organization launched, it's a non-profit organization. We launched back in September. This is our first in-person event. So it's in South London at a gay bar called Arch. And there will be a mixture of socializing, networking, and a performance by Alexis Gregory, who I believe has been on the show.
I was going to say, I think Alexis.
His latest show called Smoke, which deals with these issues, deals with addiction, loss from a queer man's perspective. He will perform a part of his play, and then we will have a panel about the importance of community. So we've invited some community organizations to come in and talk about community, mental health, and what we can do to address these issues.
Now, it says in your literature that you aim to provide a community-based or community-centred alternative to traditional mental health. What is it that you're aiming to do?
What I think is one of the main issues is that we don't talk about some of these issues, some of these stigmatized issues around suicide, mental health. We're better at it than we have been, but I still think that we can do much better. And I think as a community, we need to talk, share, and support each other. And that is essentially the essence of this organization, is to mobilize the queer community to help and support each other. So it's not only about the people that have mental health concerns or issues, but it's about all of us, so that we can be there for each other.
I love that, creating a safe and brave space. I also love the fact that you have lots of different ways in. Like if you just want to come and socialise, you could do that. But if you're a little bit shy, you could just watch the music and then you can watch a panel. You can interact with that or not. Is that the plan for all your meetings, to be this big, or is this just a one-off launch?
It's a one-off launch. We hope, actually, me and Alexis hope that we can travel the UK and do the same kind of setup and go to other cities. Because obviously this issue is not isolated just to London, but
a London issue,
all over the UK. So hopefully we can do that and spread the word about You Are Loved, spread the word about these issues and talk about them within the queer community all over the UK. But in addition to that, we have a website, obviously, where we have a support hub where we will have all kinds of support that is out there, from kind of community organizations through to queer therapists, through to anything related to these issues.
And I can get, so that's www.youare-loved.com.
Yes, great.
Just for you, Marc, I'm thinking about you. I mean, you were incredible, because you're doing all this study, so you've got all the academic rigour, but at the same time you were like hands-on doing this project. Where do you see your own career path or life path going with this?
Well, I would love to just run You Are Loved and for it to grow, not only in the UK-wide, but globally. I think this is an issue all over the world, especially in Western countries and in big cities that have a higher queer population. So if I can, once I finish my PhD, I would love to just run You Are Loved and spread the word about it. And also I would love for it to become potentially a blueprint of how we can deal with addressing suicide rates and drug-related deaths, not only for the queer community, but also for the general population.
Yes. Marc Svensson, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I can see that happening. I feel like we've had this interview, and in about 5 years from now, we're going to be going, you know when that guy from You Are Loved came on our show?
Yes, remarkable.
Thank you so much.
And we hope to have you back.
Yeah, do come back. You're always welcome.